Hey, this is Louis D. Fresh bringing it to you on a Saturday afternoon. I hope you're doing well. Today, the little video, my YouTube video, will air on tomorrow, on Sunday, October 8th, 2023. I'm always a big, every time I think I'm so smart, or I think I know what's going on, or I'm always learning. And I think that's something that's amazing about life, that you're always learning something, and something is always being added or adjusted or modified. And this is the case with this is being a college video on your college portion of your YouTube channel. They're changing a little bit, somewhat the FAFSA, always trying to make things simpler and more user friendly. And so this is why I'm calling this my first look at the FAFSA 2023. I'm sure if you're looking at this in 2034, 44, 2055, whatever, the FAFSA may be something totally different, named something differently. So always pay attention to whatever year you're watching this. See, so make the modification that you need for the year that you're watching this. So let's jump right into it. FAFSA, a first look. And usually the FAFSA comes, you could start October 1st instead of being October 7th, and this will air tomorrow, October 8th, 2023. Normally you could do the FAFSA, and apparently going forward, starting on usually October 1st. But this year they haven't actually issued a date yet. It's gonna launch in December, but they haven't given a date yet. And I want to give credit where credit is due. This was courtesy of Sally Mae. Sally Mae had and I think I told you in my social media, if you look at my archives, I was going to do a webinar. So this is all their information. I don't want to sit here and lie and say, oh, I'm so smart. I took notes. Hold on. Let this also be good practice for you guys. I have my notes right here on my office printer. You see all my little cross-offs and my little highlights. And I flip it. I even put over here just to make sure I remind myself. I flip over. You see here more notes. And this was a thing I think I mentioned on my social media that I wanted to review a little bit more. So that's why I put a different color. When you guys are taking notes, feel free to make sure you cross out, you highlight, you do what you got to do. These are for you. It's important to take notes. I mean, I know that in webinars or when you guys head off to college or even your high school classes, listen to what they tell you. They'll highlight things. Teachers, and I was a teacher too, they'll kind of say, hey, this happened. Hey, you may want to remember this. Hey, this is important. Hey, and you may want to just write that down. Those 2 pages of notes, that was about a 45 minutes webinar. I was trying to think, about 45 minutes condensed into one full page, back and front and back. So you really need to take your notes, get ideas down, and this way, you can, take ownership. Hold on one second. Swallow a little saliva though. This way you can take ownership of your of the material. So there you go. It's gonna air on December. So I put this initial or first look. I think I put on my thumbnail first look. We're gonna definitely do another one, because at least one more, because I want to see what happens. And this should in the future going forward. It should take place on October 1st, for example, 2024. So we're not sure when this will drop yet, so let's continue. Same as last year, you're going to need an FSA ID. This you can find on studentaid.gov. If I were you, this is just my uneducated opinion, I would take notes, because that's the first thing you need. And it will be a 2-step verification. Will be given one, and you'll be given a backup code once. I know they emphasized that on the webinar. That's why I'm emphasizing it now, because it will be unique to you, almost like a thumbprint. And so please write it down. I know I'm old-fashioned. I would write it in a notebook, but put it in one of your reminders or your notes on your phone. And remember, one FSA ID per person. So that would be you and your parent. So make sure that you would you take that, you write it down, you save it on your telephone. You need your FSA ID, you and a parent. Write that down. That's the first thing you need. Then I kind of labeled this need to know, because I know they didn't really emphasize how to fill it out, but definitely different things that you may want to be aware of. And one thing is called the Future Act Direct Data Exchange. They call it FADDX. The Department of Education and the IRS, Internal Revenue Service. That's our tax service here in the United States. There will be a connection. So therefore, you're not going to need your tax forms or your W-2s while filling this out. That's a new thing. So usually you always have to scramble around and find your copies. So now digitally, you will just have to just have your social security number, since your social security number or your alien ID number. Alien, I hate that word, but that's in other words, you're not a resident you're not a citizen of the United States, but you will have a number, and that number is going to help you with it will give you that connection for the education board connecting with the IRS. So therefore, you're not going to need those papers anymore. So that's really good. That's going to be very helpful, because I know if you're like a lot of people, and you get your taxes back, you throw them in a box, and you're done with it. So that's a good thing. So that's a good positive. Another good positive is that before you could only use the FAFSA for 10 colleges. Now you can use up to 20 colleges. So that's very good, because I know people like to apply to many different schools, and this way you don't have to fill out a separate FAFSA. I think 20 colleges, if you're applying to more than 20 colleges, you may want to reconsider, because I think 20 colleges is more than enough schools for you to apply to, so you can make your decisions. So that's number one. You don't need your tax information, which is amazing. And now you can include up to 20 colleges on this FAFSA 2023. All right, now continuing with that same thing about the Internal Revenue Service, the tax people, both student and parent have to give consent, which is, I was going to say in the last slide, but I was pretty sure I put that here. That's really, really important. So in other words, you have to say yes. Now, why is that so important? Because you have to say yes, because you don't want people say, like, let's say I'm a thief, right? And I go on and whatever, and I say, yes, I'm Johnny, and I give consent. And then you find out that the real Johnny really never gave consent. And therefore, those people will be brought up on charges because they're impersonating you. You absolutely, positively have to give consent for something very personal like the IRS, your tax information. So that is very important, and that's why I put two people here, because both you and the parent have to consent. And independent students, this is another important thing that you should know. This is just an example. There are other examples. You may want to do some more research. But if you're 24 years old or older, if you're married, but I'm only 17 and I'm married, well, now you're considered independent. You're active duty military. This is important because independent students do not have to report parent information. That's important because your parent may make a lot of money, or your parent may be not really in your life, whatever it may be. So therefore, now you don't have to kind of crawl; you can walk because you are independent and you don't have to report it. And all you have to do is report your information. Part 3 of things you need to know, and this is important. Volunteer School of the Earth, my seniors, because I know sadly. We live in a world where a lot of divorces and single parents and all that. This is really, really important. You may want to definitely write this down. If you have a divorced parent or a single parent or whatever the case may be, or an aunt and uncle, whoever has custodial rights over you. Custodial, write that down, custodial. Information of one parent is needed. The one that provides more than half the support. So the most support. They might be fighting and bickering and whatever, and here you are, the kid. You only have to worry about the one parent that gives the most support. That's really important. And assets, because and this is also for anybody really, because some people may have vacation home, stocks, net worth of a business, college savings. I think also a farm. Things of that nature, if it's a business farm, those things, they do not need to be reported. That's good because that can wind up adding to be money. So those things opposite. Those are things you do need to report. So you have vacation home, stocks, net worth of business, college savings account. The college savings account, there's something here in Florida called the Florida Prepaid. That is a college, if you want to write that down. Florida prepaid. That is a college savings account. They're going to take that into account because that is something that's going to be used toward college. So those are the things you do need to report. Now, what I meant to try to say is things you do not need to report, like your primary home. You live in an apartment, you live in a townhome, you live in a house, whatever you live, that does not need to be reported. Your car does not need to be reported, which is good. Now, if you have 4 or 5 cars, then that's a different animal. But your primary car, no. Retirement savings, so mom, dad, cousin, whoever's raising you, that doesn't have to be touched. But you need to really be realize anything that's sort of that you don't need to live, but rather it's a luxury. That could be a good rule of thumb. If it's luxury, then it needs to be reported. If it is not, it's something in your need that you need every day, then that does not need to be reported. And again, single parent, divorced family, only the one parent is needed, the one that provides more than half support. All right, now once your FAFSA is submitted, whenever it is that we're opening that up, you will get a submission summary that will not include financial information. That's kind of good because again, that the Internal Revenue Service and the colleges, they're going to be linked up to that, as you see there on my second bullet there. Colleges will get your FAFSA with financial information. So it's good because this way there's no fights and no arguments, and no, that's not it. There's no discrepancies. Whatever it is that's listed in the government. So in a way that's good. But you will get a submission summary. Look at the submission summary. Let's put a little hand there and think, why is that important? Because you want to I'm not trying to be funny. Write this down. Make sure that your name is spelled correctly to the letter. Because sometimes people have what is that called? An apostrophe in it. Some may start with a capital letter, lowercase letter, then a capital letter again. Check it. Make sure if your middle name is spelled right, the last name, the address, the phone number, your parents' name is spelled right. Make sure your date of birth is correct. You were not born in 2023. Again, I'm talking because this is October 7th, 2023. You were not born in 2023. Take a look at all those things to make sure it is correct, because if not, you could always edit it to make sure that it is correct. This is a legal document. Don't screw it up. Look at that summary information. And like I said, colleges will get your financial aid information, but they may request more information. That's fine, because they want to make sure that they give you the maximum amount of money. So don't worry, if you're like, oh, but why are they asking for more information? What they really want is they really want to give you the best financial aid package in their power, because they want you. Remember, it is, as much as you want to go to college, they want you. As horrible as it sounds, but they are a business, so they want to be able to maximize their capacity. So they want to make sure that they may ask you for more information. And colleges will send out financial aid offers. Now, remember, if you look back at my archives, this is what would be considered a need financial aid. The need-based aid. Remember, merit is based on your grades or achievements or sports or whatever the case may be. This is based strictly on need. So when you go to colleges and stuff, you'll see, hey, yes, we're going to try, you may write this down too, to meet your demonstrated need. Well, what is that? That is the need that you need based on your family income, your demonstrated need. All right, now, what's new? EFC, that used to be the estimated family contribution, is now being replaced by something called the SAI. This is the thing I need to do a little more research on. I think I still need to do some more research on. I still don't feel comfortable with it. It is basically, the SAI is based on family income, the assets, which I mentioned before, like a luxury vacation home, college savings accounts, government benefits. Some people I know that, like, I'm thinking about one of my counselors actually, who's I think is giving birth today. I asked, hey, are you using insurance from our company? She said, no, I have Medicare. That's here in the United States. That's something that it means that the government is paying for your medical expense, for your medical care. That goes into account. You may be getting food stamps. That goes into all that, into that whole package on what kind of need you will need. So you may want to write that down. It's based on that, your family income, your assets, and the government benefits that you may be receiving. And the lower the SAI, the student aid index, the more need that you will, the more need aid you will get because of your need. And so you have the cost of attendance, right? Well, again, that's why I put all this here, because there's a whole big old package in terms of what it is that you're going to need. The cost of attendance minus the SAI is the financial need. So the cost of attendance, which I'm going to talk about in a second, is that whole package of how much it's going to cost for you to go to college, and I'll talk about it more in a second, minus the SAI, which is the amount supposedly that you will be able to pay, equals the financial aid that the colleges hopefully will meet. Not always guaranteed, but they are aware that that's what you need in order for you to go to college. This is my last slide, and I knew that this video would be a little bit longer because, like I said, I crammed. This is 45 minutes worth of a webinar that I try to condense into 20 minutes. That's my goal here. Please note, contact individual financial aid offices regarding special circumstances. This is important. Don't say, well, they should know that this happened or that happened. They won't know because they get usually thousands of applications, thousands of financial aid stuff. Notice I didn't say the admission office, the financial aid office. There's a difference. Admissions deals with you getting in. Financial aid deals with you getting aid in order for you to go to that college. They want to meet what you can pay and what they can help you with. And so if you lost, God forbid, a parent, or the parent got divorced, or whatever the case may be, you need to let them know that there's a discrepancy. And also, I did not mention this, but you need to fill out the FAFSA each year. Write this down. Each year that you are in college, write it down. You must fill out the FAFSA each year that you are in college. And you need to let them know. Let's say last year everything was fantastic, your parents were great, and then God forbid your mom passed away, God forbid. Therefore, now you don't have that. Let them know. Natural disasters, tornadoes are huge here in the central part of the United States. Hurricanes, earthquakes, droughts, whatever it may be. Let them know that there's the reason for a drought in case your family owns a farm. These things are really, really, this is important for you to let the colleges know what's going on. And the FAFSA will not ask you for housing intentions. This is really, really important as I finish this up. Because boarding, a big example, boarding at the school, are you going to eat at the school, things of that nature, you have some type of special needs because of your disability, that you got to let them know this stuff is going to cost money. Let the admission office know so that the college knows your total cost. Like example, housing. You plan to live on campus, you plan to have a car on campus, whatever the case may be, let them know. So this way they can fully see what your cost of admission is, COA. Thank you to Sally Mae. Here it is, sallymae.com/FAFSA. If you need to write that down, they were nice enough to have that webinar. So I want to give them a shout out, sallymae.com/FAFSA. I have to give credit where credit is due. I really thank you to them and for these tidbits of information, because it is very important that you put your best foot forward. So therefore you don't want to assume that they know what you're talking about. Make sure that they're fully aware of your housing intentions, whatever your family situation is. God forbid something incredible has happened. Speaking of my counselor who's giving birth today, that might be a different circumstance. Now you have a little brother, you have a little sister. All these things, you really, really, really need to let the college know what is going on in your life. And that's all I got. I'm probably going to use this as my clip because, like I said, FAFSA, as with anything, with your fish, because we talk about fish here, we talk about colleges, you really need to do your research all the time. Even if you think you know what's going on, find out more. Like I said, and this for my clip, the FAFSA is changing December of 2023. Some minor changes, but for the better, to make your life easier, to make it more profitable for you, and to be able to make sure that you get the most aid that you can get. But you need to do your part. Don't rely on your counselor. Don't rely on your parent. We're here to help. We are. But in essence, the bottom line is you're the one going to college. You're the one trying to better your future. You're the one trying to make things better. So learn more, find out more, reach out, and volunteer school. Make sure that you reach out to me so we can definitely get the most money for you. This is Louis D. Fresh.